First to a quick wrap of news from the primary sector. 230 more rurally based jobs are on the line after OG Fibre Solutions announced proposals to halt paper processing at its Kinleith plant in Tokoroa. The Wood Processors and Manufacturers Association says it's becoming increasingly difficult for New Zealand mills to compete with intense global competition and high energy prices. Low contract prices for homegrown maize are putting farmers off planting the crop, according to a large-scale grower in Tairāwhiti, and there are fears that could mean more reliance on imports of the staple stock feed. Federated Farmers Arable Chair for Gisborne Wairoa, Alan Newton, says last year many growers were left with crop they couldn't sell because cheaper imported grain was available. This season, companies have been slow to offer contracts because they were initially unsure if they could dry the maize due to high energy prices. That's been sorted, but even so, this year he's planting just 20 hectares when he used to grow 200.
It's going to cost over 10 tonne of maize to grow your crop. If you have a 12-tonne crop, which is the average of this area, you'll get paid for 2 tonne. If you have a 15-tonne crop, which is a very good crop, you'll get paid for approximately 5 tonne, which gives you a bit more of an appetite. If we have a dry season in any form of a disaster and you drop to 10 or 8 tonne, you'll only lose money.
Alan Newton says the prospect of a drought on the east coast this summer is high.
A New Zealand-bred apple resistant to sunburn and disease was launched at a conference in Italy this week. Its qualities are exciting those behind the fruit, which is scab-resistant, tolerant to mildew and canker, and features a natural wax to protect it from the rays of the sun. Here's Tony Martin of Prevar, which is marketing the apple.
It's very exciting because this, we believe, is the first really good tasting disease resistance apple variety to be released into the global marketplace. Disease resistance is really important for growers, obviously, because they have a much higher opportunity to get a larger crop off their trees. They use less chemical sprays, and it also means you can reduce the number of times a tractor goes up and down each row.
Blueberry growers in Waikato are hopeful higher prices will help recoup costs after the disastrous 2022 season when most of their crop was wiped out. Dan Peach packs for 23 growers in the region.
I don't think they'll be massively stronger, but I think they'll be a little bit stronger, which will hopefully allow growers to make a little bit of money. I think the impacts of the frost a couple of years ago really hurt growers a lot, 94% down, so that's a big hit for anyone. And it takes a lot to bounce back for that, and I think it's made people more cautious. So yes, cautiously optimistic.
Dan Peach says new plant genetics being used by tunnel house growers are producing superior fruit.
In other market news, Kiwi fruit firm Zespri has improved its forecast payouts thanks to good fruit quality and strong demand in international markets. Per hectare returns are forecast to be at record levels for green and organic green, both between $86,000 and $87,000. Growers have harvested a record crop of 190 million trays this season. Dairy prices hit a 2-year high in the global auction this week, and after months of low returns, farmers are starting to get better prices for lamb, a couple of dollars a kilo higher since the start of the year. That's thanks to China buying more and a slowdown in the flood of Australian lamb entering markets. But on the flip side, farmers spending less has led to the country's largest rural supply store, Farmlands, making a substantial financial loss of $14.3 million after tax for the year to June. And the farmer-owned Red Meat Co-op Alliance has reported a full-year loss of $95.8 million after tax for the year to September, which includes the $51 million cost of closing its Smithfield meat plant in Timaru.
A company farming king salmon at Akaroa has become the first in the southern hemisphere to introduce insect meal to the fish's diet. Akaroa king salmon says it's an important step to creating a sustainable aquaculture industry, because salmon fed solely on wild fish need to eat 3 times their weight over the course of their lifetime. And lastly, Tairāwhiti sheep and beef farmer Sandra Matthews has been named National President of Rural Women New Zealand.
You're listening to Country Life on RNZ National, 101 FM.